Hello, and welcome to the Human Instrument Mastery podcast. I am really happy to dive into this episode today and share with you one of the concepts and frameworks of thought around this work of human instrument mastery that I've been using and contemplating and sharing for a long time. And that is your inner state, and more specifically, the elections in your inner state. So I always say every moment is elections in your inner state. What do I mean by that? In your inner state, there are several voices, several agendas. There is the one of the inner dictator that has been in office ruling for years and decades. And that is the voice or the agenda of your subconscious programming. And it is speaking to you in your own mind, sounding just like you, using your voice and speaking the voice of reason, logic, rational thinking, realistic thinking, responsibility. But actually, it is talking you out of creating change, because change always means stepping outside of what is known to you in order to create something that hasn't yet been created in your life and therefore is outside of that known zone. And whenever we are even just considering stepping outside of our known zone, our programming system of the instrument is triggered and activated to kick in and protect us from going past that zone, because it doesn't know what is beyond it, and therefore it is dangerous. So our subconscious program perceives the unknown as danger, acute danger, and therefore it kicks in full force to talk us out of stepping beyond the known zone. And as long as we follow that, we can never create something that is beyond that. So if you want more money, more success, more time freedom, more location freedom, more health, better relationships. It doesn't matter what it is that you desire. You desire it because you don't yet have it, or more of it. And that is what you desire, more of, or something different than what you have. And so that thing that you desire is beyond what is already in your known zone. And you must step out of that known zone in order to create it and bring it into your physical reality. And that is exactly when your subconscious program kicks in to prevent that from happening. Because again, it perceives that unknown zone as danger, and it is programmed to protect you. But remember, the setting of that program has been created in very early years of your life, for the most part, the first 6-7 years of your life. So what was dangerous for you at the time is not dangerous for you right now. You do not need to adapt and conform to an environment that you were born into and need to grow up in and survive in. You are an adult. You are a human being, meaning you are a spiritual being with an incredible human instrument that is designed to create whatever you desire. So you can change your environment and you can create new environments. But in order to do that, you must update that subconscious program to allow that to happen. So what I want to talk about today is those inner voices, these inner agendas, and how you can make better choices so you can actually step beyond the known zone and into the unknown, where all possibilities exist, including those that you desire. Yes, there are other possibilities that exist there too, that everything will be a disaster, that you will fail, but also the possibility that everything will work out even beyond what you can mentally and consciously expect, and that everything will be absolutely amazing for you. So that possibility exists there, and you must step into there in order to bring it into here, your physical 3D reality. And so every moment is election in your inner state. Every moment you have the opportunity and duty to choose which thought to think, which thought to believe. And more so, much more so, when you need to make decisions that stretch you beyond that known, comfortable, safe zone that you live in. So you want to be acutely aware of how these different voices sound like within your own mind, and how do they feel? Your feelings give you the indication of the vibration that you're in. So in your human instrument, your feelings, your emotions are your GPS guidance system telling you you're moving in the direction of your desire, feeling acceleration, excitement, expectation, joyful expectation, passion, and so on, or moving in the other direction, feeling disappointed, frustration, worry, doubt, and so on. So you want to be acutely aware of how these voices sound like, what thoughts you think, what are those slogans that they use on their campaigns in the election in your inner state, and then how does it feel when you follow those agendas? One will feel good, one will feel bad if we put this on these two polar opposite extremes. Yeah. And so your inner dictator that has been in office for years and decades is very powerful because they've been there for so long. They have all of the quote unquote in your inner state news media channels and lawyers and campaign writers and so on and so forth. And their agenda, their voice is the loudest, is the most usual one. While the underdog, the true leader, the voice of your soul is a more subtle, quiet one. And you want to learn how to recognize it and follow it, how to vote for it. Now, think about it. If you were going to elections and you had the opportunity to give your voice, to give your vote to one of the candidates, one would be a long-time dictator, ruler that has been in office for so long, so powerful, so persuasive, but you absolutely don't believe one word that they're saying. And when you have the opportunity to give your vote, you would never give your vote to them, even if their campaign is the best. You will always give your vote to that underdog, the true leader that really stands for your values and can really lead that state into the bright future that you believe and desire. Who would you vote for? The underdog, right? You would never fall for that dictator, even if they are so persuasive and powerful. Same goes with your inner state, and every moment is election in your inner state. You have to give your vote for one or the other, for the dictator or the true underdog leader that can take you to that promised land. Who are you going to vote for when it comes to election? And again, every moment is election in your inner state. Every moment is election in your inner state. So what you can do in order to develop your awareness and recognize more quickly which voice is speaking to you. Number one is write down, how does the dictator speak to you? Recall a time when you were doubting yourself, when you were worrying about the future, where you knew that your intuition and desire and passion are leading you in one direction and there's a voice inside you that is talking you out of it. And write down the main repetitive statements that this inner voice is speaking in your mind, thinking in your mind. Write those down so you can really recognize them. These are their slogans and you're not going to believe it and fall for it anymore. Then write down, how does it feel to listen to those thoughts? How does worry feel? How does self-doubt feel? How does it feel in your body? What is the emotion? What is the inner atmosphere in your inner state when you follow those agendas? And then write down, how do you actually act and behave when you follow those agendas? Does it keep you at home not going to social events? Does it make you not take the actions and follow the action plan that you've had for the day or the week or the moment, what we call procrastination? Does it take you to squander your time on social media or binge eating? Recognize your behavior that you demonstrate when you follow those agendas. Be very, very aware of these three levels: thoughts, feelings, and actions. And then write down the thoughts of that more quiet, subtle voice of the true inner leader. How do they speak in your mind? What are those thoughts? And how does it feel when you really allow yourself to entertain those thoughts and follow them? And what would you do, or what have you done before when you did follow, or when you do follow that voice? What are the actions then? And what is the outcome that it leads you to? What is the change that is created in your life, inside, in your inner state, and outside, in the reflection of that inner state, in your physical reality, when you follow your true inner leader? Be very, very aware of the two scenarios. And then moving forward, whenever you hear those slogans of the inner dictator in your mind, be aware of it and act quickly to shift before it escalates, before it catches momentum. Either affirm the polar opposite of those thoughts and give the microphone to the true inner leader, so their voice will be louder in your inner state. And if you cannot do that, if there's too much resistance for that, then completely let the subject go and do something else. I call this use your exit points. Exit points, your activities and ways to withdraw your attention from a subject that is bringing up a lot of resistance as you recognize that you are spiraling down in your thoughts and feelings, and completely give your attention to something else and do something else that raises your vibration. When you're able to raise your vibration and feel better from a completely different standpoint and on a completely different topic or context, then you can come back to this topic and context and make better choices of thoughts and actions. And you will know you've done that because of how you feel. So sometimes you have to change how you feel first in order to be able to make those better choices. I hope these are helpful for you, and I would love for you to really note those down. Be aware of how the inner dictator is speaking to you. What are those thoughts? How does it feel to entertain them? And what are the actions and behavior that they are leading you to? Versus how does your true inner leader speak in your mind? How does it feel to follow those statements and thoughts and concepts? And what are the actions and behavior that this agenda will support you in choosing and demonstrating? And then be aware and choose your exit points. What are activities that will help you change the subject when you recognize that the inner dictator is taking over, so you can deactivate that automatic reaction of your subconscious program that is trying to keep you in your known zone, and raise your vibrations so you are stable and then can make better choices of thoughts and actions. Examples of my exit points are going out for a walk, doing any kind of physical movement, dance, workout, certain music to listen to, meditation, breath work, sauna. These are some of my exit points. And another one that is actually the most powerful one for me is to listen to truth, listening to podcasts like this, to my teachers, to resources that remind me of the truth that I know and believe in. I call it to saturate my mind in truth. So instead of letting my mind follow the dictator's agenda, automatic mode, I saturate my mind with truth and remind myself of what I know to be true. And in that way, strengthen the voice of my true inner leader so I can follow it with action. If this is resonating and you find this helpful, please share this episode and our podcast with someone that you know, or maybe even on your social media. And if you want a complete 3 days course to help you break through those automatic patterns and reactions, please send me on Instagram the word TOP, and I will send you a link to a free 3-day course that will help you with that. I'm really looking forward to our next episode. And until then, much love to you. Bye-bye.